Welcome back, guys. We're coming back to you with our final series tonight here at the SSL Series 2017 Season 1. I am awkwardly positioned because our producer came down and threw tiny paper cranes all over me.
How many did he give you?
How many did he give me? Let's count these. 1, 2. You know how trolls count, Wolf?
No.
It's 1, 2, many, lots. There's definitely lots here. I feel like that's an appropriate...
Well, I need to know exactly how many, actually, in this case. And I'll tell you why in a second.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's some 13. I think there's 14.
All right, so let's say 14.
Okay. There's like so many cranes here, guys. I can't even hold all these cranes.
Well, you know, in Korea and in Asia, it's very romantic for a girl that really likes you to fold 1,000 stars or 1,000 cranes and put them in a jar and give them to the guy that she likes. It's kind of like a really romantic.
Ain't nobody got time for that, Wolf. You know what these are? They're Jin Air cranes. Okay, well, that was about as funny as a million paper cranes.
Okay.
All right, it's been a long night, guys. In case you guys are wondering, it's 1 a.m. here in South Korea.
12:58. Pansy, it's not even 1 a.m. yet.
Okay, well, in 2 minutes, I'll have a good excuse for why suddenly paper cranes are immensely funny to me, along with talking about our last series tonight, so...
That's right. We're going to our last series of the evening, but I guess our producer just isn't ready for a really intense confession of his love for you because he only gave you 14 cranes.
Well, 14 cranes is not going to cut it with me, man. You gotta really try hard if you... There's a line from the song Telephone that goes with this, but I can't remember the lyrics. Anyway, back to the matter at hand. Yeah, we got one more series tonight, guys. I think it should be at least my favorite series of the evening. Byun versus, I think it's Jakji.
Yeah, it's a TVT.
So TVT, my favorite game, or at least style to watch here. It's going to be Belshir Vestige, Whirlwind, and Daybreak are 3 maps. And yeah, Byun, really 2016 #Year of Byun. Like, insane to see his accomplishments there. 2017, not looking so hot, got busted out early in the GSL. And this is really just since that has not looked like his 2016 self.
Yeah, Jakji actually had a lot of moments to succeed. He was set up and given proper map picks by KT Rolster throughout the final season of Pro League, but he failed when it mattered oftentimes. Ended up getting fielded less and less as the season went on, and his most key fielding at the Pro League Grand Finals, where he fell to SOS, was actually match point. And if you think, I think that's the last time I saw Jakji play in a real match, it's because besides online tournaments, he hasn't really been doing anything of note. This is his biggest achievement since then has been realistically to qualify for this tournament.
Yeah,
he couldn't even get into Premier, but he's here in Challenge.
Well, to be fair, when I was watching Jakji play at the qualifiers, he was actually tearing it up. That's Wolf longest, yeah, boy. So, yeah, he was actually doing a really good job. So I'm actually really excited to see, hey, we've got Ryung, a guy that used to be insanely good, now coming back and really looking like his former self. Maybe it's Jakji too, I don't know. Byun also maybe needs a little bit of help up there, but at least going into this match, I mean, it's always a little bit strange to me to vote against Byun.
Of course. I mean, Byun has been somewhat on the decline since his GSL victory. I mean, only a pretty top finish in the GSL, qualifying for this tournament, again, continuing to stomp on online tournaments.
Well, yeah, I mean, to be fair, we're not saying that like Byun's bad. It's like, instead of like being up here, he's like down here, or maybe here. Close.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely like fallen quite significantly. It's not that he's not dominant anymore, but he's no longer in full form. We saw his final form at its finest in the GSL, the most recent season back before BlizzCon. He also had a great start into the previous season of Star League. He fell to Classic, though, in group stages. And it was really unfortunate, but Classic just had his number there. Had some struggles in the TVP matchup at that point. Then went on to beat SOS, one of the craftier Protosses in the GSL. In one of our last moments of teams existing, the team structure in StarCraft 2, and you would think that a player who was teamless throughout that entire season, who practiced solo, practiced alone, did scrims, and practiced with like players like Neeb, for example, he actually credited quite a bit for his TVP practice, would actually do even better when all teams are removed, and we've moved into this postmodern era where there are no teams, there is no CUSPA, there is no Pro League. But perhaps the motivation is lacking now that he has that GSL title. Whereas a player like Jockji, who's now on his own, like the pre-CUSPA days where he was a GSL champion, out of KT Rolster, may be able to, with his new fresh sponsor here, actually individually have his own practice regimen and go back to something more like what we've seen from Beyond that may work better for him, because that's how he practiced a lot of his career when he was on the team Ennis Hosa. That was really just a college club, and it didn't have the same practice regimen that he came to expect in KT Rolster.
All right, well, this is our last game of the night, our last series of the night. So if you guys are just now tuning in, welcome to the broadcast. You're about to watch this guy play Beyond, and of course, I think his reputation precedes him a little bit, representing Team Expert, and coming out here always, as always, with a big smile on his face. If you love nothing about this guy, Beyond could be the worst player in the world, and I would still get pumped up watching him. He's just like one of the most emotional, I think it's fairly safe to say, like, aside from guys like MC, maybe, the most emotional Korean player that exists in the Korean scene right now. So even if he's not doing quite so well, win or lose, you always know that like he is like putting every ounce of himself into the games.
Yeah, I'd say there's very few players I would compare with Beyond emotionally. I'd say the most emotional StarCraft player we've had in StarCraft 2 would be Marine King. But obviously he's long since retired from play. MC, in terms of energy, I would say very comparable in terms of pumped up, being on stage, wearing the Murloc suit, etc. There's a lot of emotional StarCraft players, but those are like the big three that you think about in terms of energy. You've got players like Parting, who kind of go down that same sort of path that MC walked in terms of energy, making jokes, pleasing the crowd, and things like that. Yeah. Beyond's the guy who no one rooted for until he had his moment in Star League last year. Then he had his run through the GSL teamless. And now I feel like he's the player that everyone wants to root for. It's a lot of added pressure. He's already gotten his title. And, you have to say he's the favorite right now. I would say, I'm not going to use the S word here, but I feel like he is on a decline, whereas Jockji, based on what you observed in person at the qualifiers, seems to be doing quite well. This could go either way. We've already had one upset tonight. We've had a few upset game ones. And Beyond should take this, but Josh, like you said, looking to rise to the challenge.
Indeed, he is. That's going to be our last series, like I said, coming up. So this is your last chance to get out there and support these players on Twitter at SC2Beyond, at SC2_Jockji. It's with 3 J's, 2 in the front, 1 in the middle. And here we go. Down in the bottom right-hand corner of Fly Better Fly. It's every map that we play on. This is Jockji. There we go. Got it.
There you go. And his opponent, of course, the top right is actually his opponent, Beyond, the up until recently teamless.
And gas first for Beyond. Going to be throwing that down a little bit ahead of schedule. Now just waiting to drop the barracks on both sides. And indeed, it will be mirrored builds, so nothing super surprising.
Yeah. No proxies or anything crazy, which is super out of the meta right now, but every now and then.
Yeah, I mean, it is the fact that it is every now and then that makes it so crazy. Just a big sort of like, oh, okay, well, I just lost for that when you do. But for the most part, I'm actually like really happy as far as like the rate of cheeses. There was back in the very earliest days of StarCraft 2, Wings of Liberty, it's just like, well, who can build your 4 gateways the fastest? It's like, well, this is just not fun cheese. It's like, well, it's not, going to happen all the time. And then there was like a really weird time during, I think it was Heart of the Swarm, where it's just like, well, who can figure out the coolest way to like cheese your opponent out of the game? I'm like, well, this is fun to watch and everything, but I actually just want to see a straight up game. And it looks like that's what's transpiring here before our eyes.
At least in game number 1, that is to say, as we go into Vestige. So just factories coming up online. Solo gas for both players at this moment in time. So we're going to see faster expansions, no super quick tech. Yep, comes down to 207. Gas mark, not a quick double gas and 2 cloak banshees or anything like that, most likely anyways. Might just be the vanilla banshees, but
vanilla banshees as
yeah,
opposed,
to chocolate banshees or the Rocky
banshees,
Road
man.
banshees or the sherbet banshees or the cloak banshees, just vanilla. So
cloak banshees are like the banshees that are really into LARPing.
what's LARPing?
What's LARPing? Oh my God! Somebody needs to link Wolf, the most American pastime. Every cool person in the world at one point or another has LARPed, Wolf. Oh my God!
I mean, that means I've probably LARPed, right?
I mean, I hope so for your sake. Do you know how many people would unfollow you right now if they knew that you had never LARPed?
Well, I mean, the thing is, I may have LARPed and just been unaware of it.
Oh, that is
I could have
actually
been
true.
an unassuming LARPer. I'm a LARPist, for all I know. Okay. We're gonna have a proxy starport here coming up from Jokchi, who will scout this CC, but nothing else, and we'll walk away with no kills. Even the grenade he placed was temporary,
Indeed, it was.
leaving a small mark on this world.
Well, Jokchi about to bust out this proxy starport, like you said. And here it goes, building the tech lab right now. I mean, you were the one that was talking about the potential for maybe banshees to come out here. If that's what it is, that would certainly be super cool. And I certainly can't imagine anything else. I mean, you're not really going to proxy like a raven or anything. And here, indeed, it is. Cloak banshees coming out.
Yep. So, not the fastest possible cloak, but with a double gas timing, that was pretty standard. You can get out cloak. You sacrifice gas for other things. Your stim's going to be delayed if you transition to that very quickly. But comes out with it very quickly. There's the Cyclone coming up for Beyond. He wants to be hyper aggressive. He has a medevac coming across the map. He's going to try to target down the Cyclone of Jokchi here. Unsuccessful so far, but killing several Marines on the retreat. The bunker's not ready.
The bunker's not done in time. SCV's coming out just to try to finish it off there. Cyclone actually getting a lot of value, though, for Jokchi. So he does hold for just a little bit longer. He will have the reinforcement defender's advantage here and the SCVs to repair the Cyclone, but there's too much Marine damage. He micros it forwards, and Beyond keeps his Cyclone alive.
It was a pretty optimistic mule that Jokchi just dropped at the natural there. Holding this was almost never going to happen. Beyond didn't even have to micro that Cyclone into the medevac, although he could have. This Banshee gets shut down before he gets cloaked. 10 seconds before.
God. Oh my goodness. So, I mean, theoretically, had Jokchi had cloak there, that would have been an insanely great opportunity for him. Go in there, kill a billion SCVs. If you can avoid the scan, you just have so much that you can do with that. Unfortunately, he went in before the cloak, which usually is okay and safe, but Beyond was just right on top of a perfect defense.
Easy peasy, lime squeezy.
You just had to mix it up there at the little. You got to be the edgy phrases hipster.
I mean, I think lime was more appropriate there.
Okay, well now the Banshee does have a cloak, so this is a little bit more appropriate. Unfortunately, he's gonna have to run away from the scan anyway. We'll see if he curves his Banshee back around in, and finally there is the drop that will scout out this proxy starport. Unfortunately, 2 Marines do die to 1 Banshee, so you're gonna need a little bit more than that to take it out.
Okay, this Banshee having limited success here. 3 SCV kills in total.
He sent the Banshee away instead of killing the 2 Marines with it, okay?
I suppose he just wants to try to get... I mean, he knows that this is going to get shut down, so perhaps he just wants to hide the Banshee and then go for another follow-up harass.
I mean,
you kill 2 Marines for the Banshee, though. Like, if he had stayed for the Marines, the Viking probably would have killed it. I mean, you're absolutely right. He could have killed the Marines. I guess he just wanted to take a different path here. He needs to find some serious damage with these Banshees with what he has left because he's so significantly behind. If you look at the workers, it's like, okay, yeah, he's behind 10 workers, that's pretty significant, but he's also behind an army. The larger army comes to Beyond, which is going to give him control of this map. It can allow him to pressure a lot harder. He has the faster stim, which I was talking about with the cloak. When you get it like that, you get a late stim. He can make a 3rd base first. He's going to take the option of pushing across the map. That's the way he's going to roll with it. Quite literally, with these siege tanks rolling across the map.
And indeed,
and Jokchi is just going to go over here and make him...
I mean, hey, if first time's not the charm, then I suppose, they say, second time.
He has to make a reactor to catch up in air control right now, and I suppose that you save time by opening that down there. Narrowly needed to pick that up, but didn't.
Sickest micro there by Beyond, able to overcome the foliage disadvantage.
Foliage disadvantage?
Well, indeed, he was that's what it's called, Wolf. I mean, some people call it like
I like
vision.
to call it vision, yeah.
No, man, it's all about the foliage.
Maybe that's what line of sight blocker should have been called. It's much easier to say foliage than line of sight blocker. Oh well.
Yeah, because then it's like it's not you could abbreviate line of sight LOS, but then you have to add the B, so it's like LOSB. I just like to say foliage. All right, here we go. The two little tanks that could, along with their Marine cohorts, going to be pushing up here. That's also like a weird Marine placement. It's like he was just chilling next to Jockjay's Marine. But now that they have all grouped up to each other, we'll see who gets the better siege, and it looks like Beyond does have two in the front versus just one. He will need to scan to make sure that those tanks stay alive.
He didn't actually use his medevac for vision, although it looks like he was trying to.
Okay, he's just barely out of range. It was the Marine that they were hitting in front.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, he has full control over these bases, like I was saying. He can take a third when he wants to, or he can just kind of slowly push forward here. Moving in by eating that because of the tank fire he already ate earlier is going to be difficult. Jockjay has an opportunity to counter harass. You can see actually with the Viking control he has here too, this is an issue. The third CC is on the way. You can see it on the minimap there. He's making it at the natural base, which means the drop isn't going to find it. And he's just ferrying units across. This is eventually going to be more than what Jockjay can handle with the lack of vision. He has to scan, which is costing him more money. Oh, scan here for the stim. We'll get the Vikings at least, but nothing else. That was a mistake on Beyond's part. But a snap decision by Jockjay. And a big stim, mind you. That was a lot of medevac energy he's going to have to use for that.
Yeah, and good reaction time there by Jockjay to pick up that medevac in the middle of the map, ferry it now back across the map. And man, I just really love this by Beyond. He's not overextending his stay. He gets in there, gets a little bit of value from sieging up at the natural. Now, of course, he doesn't know that there's the second somewhat proxy starport down at the third that he could have retreated to and maybe picked off. But instead, now it's Jockjay's turn to sit in the driver's seat and put a contain on Beyond.
Well, I mean, he wants to, but I don't think this is going to be very effective.
Oh, siege tanks are awfully forward.
Well, it's going to actually really work out in his favor because Beyond's going to try to base trade this instead. It means he's in range of that CC, which is really important, but Beyond has a great position here with these tanks. He's already deeper into Jockjay's base, so in terms of a race, he's already winning the race. You can see the unusual load command there on the orbital to keep those SCVs alive. He's going to have to repair to save that CC, which I do believe he successfully did. But again, Beyond is deeper into Jockjay's base, so just by default here, he's starting at the further block, and this race should be won by him. In fact, this orbital with a scan should go down.
Oh, just barely. Wow, loses all the SCVs and the orbital.
He didn't even need a scan because he has medevacs, of course, the high ground vision. Both orbitals lifted here, but they're both saved.
Yeah.
And Beyond has the larger army. He has the better defensive position. And what he could actually do is send units home to sandwich this, kill it, and just win the game. He has the bigger foothold in terms of, oh man.
Oh no, but a nice stim out there will take several unsieged tanks out. Jockjay gets a little bit of value and is well on his way to holding. Now, there is a lot here at the natural for Beyond. So Jockjay will be able to get a lot of value out of taking that out, but at the same time, the entire natural already cleaned out. Beyond already now maybe thinking about returning home.
Some really cool snap decisions here by Jockjay based on the siege positions we've seen from Beyond. He's very decisive in his movements, but unfortunately this position will always be better for Beyond, considering the tools here and the Vikings that Beyond has to push these medevacs back, which gives him vision control, and now he's coming back for that sandwich I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, and the higher siege tank numbers, as our observers were pointing out, for Jockjay, they're really keeping Beyond back in his base.
You know, the problem really being, though, that even with the higher siege tank numbers, he has a weak buffer, and his position here is also weak. Beyond has more mules, and he has the larger army, has the positional advantage to sandwich potentially. He's not going to try for it, though. He's actually going to contain instead. But this gives Beyond the opportunity, with the air control he has with these Vikings, to eventually move Liberators into position. It's going to be a slow process, but it's a process that Beyond eventually wins, barring a huge micro mistake.
Indeed it is, and so Beyond should be able to eventually push out of here. I'm unsure why he's not. I think right now he just like believes his position is good enough that as long as he holds, he'll be able to gain more of an advantage across the map.
Look at what he's scanned to see here. He knows that he has vision control with these medevacs. There's not a single Viking for Joxy, and even if there were, he knows the starport is missing, so it's not in the main base. And he's just going to slowly whittle this down. If you compare the positioning of these two armies, Joxy can't do anything, whereas Bjorn is killing production. He's killing barracks right away. This is desperate. If he's going to try to go into the main base here, I think he's going to regret it.
Yep, the Dr. Doom drop coming
It's looking to scan
into
too.
the main.
Bjorn sniffs this out, and he knows, okay, something suspicious is going to go on. This isn't even hidden. Oh, this is disastrous.
Look at that SCV. MVP, SCV. I'm dropping all the acronyms right now. Scouting out that attempted Doom drop, and now while Bjorn's getting all this value, Joxy has to unload and get into another position.
I mean, he had the SCV there, he had depots there, he had plenty of time to react. The scan was the coolest part, because that was the moment where he's like, hey, it feels like you've moved back here. Where are you at? Okay, you're not even here. I'm going to move my CC down. He still has triple CCs, by the way. Joxy does secure this base temporarily, but it's taken him a lot longer. And he does medevac that over. He's got a sensor tower up, so could see if the units of Bjorn were coming over. This sensor tower does make it super obvious to Bjorn what has happened here. He's going to send his units back home, link up his armies, and this game is still massively in his favor. It's been a slow, long transition, but the small things, the two Vikings he's had, the Liberators, have made it a lot easier for him.
You know, let's not go massively into his favor. If you look at the supply, you can see things are actually pretty even. I mean, Bjorn will have a slightly larger army just after saving more of his Marines there towards the end, but it doesn't look like either player, really content to let this game play out. Joxy pushing forward, Bjorn returning back to his natural. We'll see if this is the fight Joxy wants to take.
Okay, this time he decides not to commit. Well, he sees a lot of Marines there with the scan. He's just so desperately trying to find something, but he's finding nothing. And this means Bjorn with his big CC lead here actually can even push over to take a third base. Just barely a one fight here by Joxy. I believe we're even at 1-1 upgrades for both parties. But look, he sends this third CC over. He has triple SCV production that Joxy does not. He has the triple meals. Joxy has one. He's moved his lifted CC from his main base to the third. He's desperately trying to take a fight. And that's the one thing Joxy's been able to do this game is decisively stim and catch Bjorn's tanks unsieged. If he can do that, he can win the game. But if Bjorn doesn't give him an opportunity to do that, then Bjorn eventually wins the game by just a huge, massive economic lead, 3-1.
Yeah, and especially right now. I mean, Joxy really just struggling economically, like you said. He's out here trying to make something happen. If he can get into a good spot, then that's great, but he has no Vikings. That means that air control is just never going to be something that he has. That means that his Liberators will eventually push forward. And here we go, actually, okay, catching a good Marine trade, but I mean, it's going to take more than that to get him back into this game.
Yeah, definitely a positive trade there for Joxy, but it's so insignificant when you look at the big picture of the game here. Bjorn is just never going to... Bjorn's like, wait, are you for serious? You still don't have a third base? Okay, all I have to do is sit back and win the game. I don't need to be doing little micro moves like this. I don't need to be trying to catch you on siege because just by attrition, I will be victorious. 3 CCs again. Two CCs mining triple SCV production, and should he want it, he's actually cut production. He's already at 30 SCVs. Triple mules. The tank lead that Joxy had, I believe, has probably been passed by Bjorn because he has the better economy, he can afford more siege tanks, and he will. And it's a slow and painful death, but you have to wonder, is there even a move that Joxy can make to come back, barring a huge mistake by Bjorn? He's looking for that unsieged position, but Bjorn is just sitting there. He's a turtle with his head in the shell. Wow, this fight this time goes for Bjorn.
I was gonna say we've seen like 3 or 4 like 2-on-2 or 1-on-1 Marine exchanges here. That's the most exciting part of this game. Big stim though, right as I say that, coming up, but Joxy can't commit.
This is what he's looking for. He's looking for that one fight that goes his favor. Does not even have air control right now though. He has enough vision as it is to maintain it. He has enough air to maintain it, but like he loses that Viking war, he has to back off. It was a bad trade for him anyways, and the supply gap widens moment by moment, minute by minute, second by second, millisecond by millisecond here for Bjorn as he just remains in an economic lead. So much so that he could probably add some more production on soon, perhaps a second factory. He has a 3-tank lead, and
Oh my God, Wolf, a 3-tank lead.
he's got a 3-tank lead, man. That's like not 2 tanks, not 1, it's 3. It's about a
2.
He's realistically got a 50% tank lead, 6-9, 69.
Oh my God, get me out of here. Well, this is our last series of the night, guys. So hopefully you've been enjoying a little bit more of a casual take on this. When our producers came to us, they're like, yo, so this is challenge. We're just going to take it a little bit easier.
Actually, they told us to be silly, basically.
Yeah. So we're definitely taking their suggestions to heart as much as possible. In fact, in keeping with the crowd interaction, if you guys want to share your thoughts with us, once again, let us know on Twitter, #SSL, which for at least this moment will no longer stand for Secure Socket Layer. It will allow you to comment on the games, the casting, and everything else out there. It's better than trying to look for #ASL for the Brood War League, because people use ASL as a basic abbreviation for as hell. So it's like, man, I'm tired.
What
ASL.
generation are you from, man? That for me, I was always age, sex, location, AIM style. Beyond is taking another poor fight here, but he can actually take a slightly mediocre Marine trade because he has an economic lead. He's very aware of that. In fact, he's so ahead, he's used several scans to confirm that it is in fact the case that Jockey is still on his main lifted CC. He could have lifted his CC to take a 4th base a long time ago, but he didn't.
I'm not sure really what Jockey is trying to accomplish here. He's like, well, I have less stuff and less economy. What if I just kept trading?
This is just sloppy play, to be honest.
Yeah, so I mean, if Jockey wanted, he could have just like built a bunch of command centers, kept the pressure on, but not really committed to it. And I think this is where we watch Jockey fall apart.
Yeah. He also could have, with the majority of Vien's army finally being out there, moved into the main with the Doom Drop despite that watchtower. He could have maybe controlled the ramp there, killed some of the production. But instead he kind of tried to fight with less and lost. And this is going to be an interesting GG timing here for sure.
Yeah, Jockey with 4, now 3 SCVs to his name. 3 versus 33. GG. Beyond takes game number 1.
Definitely by far our most one-sided game of the evening, I would say. And we really did get this to see showcased the skill differential between these two players, because we had almost mirrored builds. We had, yes, the proxy Stargate. Beyond out-microed Jockey with the attack. Jockey was completely, I feel, misunderstanding the amount of pressure that was coming his way. The second the attack started, he dropped a mule at his natural. Yeah. That's the moment where I'm like, you think this is a hold, but actually it's not.
No.
He lost the mule and all of his SCVs, which he didn't evacuate. If had he evacuated, held, bought time there, found some damage with the Banshee, maybe he comes back into the game. He did find some damage throughout the game with the Banshee, forced some scans and things like that, but that difference in skill in terms of the micro there, the understanding of that push was definitely in Bjorn's favor. And from that game on, or for that moment on, he had a slight lead, and he turned into a massive lead little by little.
Yeah, I mean, the base trader was like, oh my goodness, who's going to be in the better spot? Jockey actually had more tanks there for a second, and then it all kind of fell apart there, especially with Bjorn's like, wait a second, I just like have all of my command centers because I didn't lose them. Really cool to see like Bjorn's focus fire in a lot of these situations, like maybe taking bad trades just to take units that he knew it would be more stressful for Jockey to replace, whether it's like sniping off little siege tanks here and there, winning all those like wacky tiny marine fights. He's just like, well, I'm just making more money, so...
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind as well that Jockey had some really cool decisive engages from catching Bjorn siege tanks on
Very
siege.
true.
I think that's what he's trying to look for in that game. But Bjorn just eventually realized, okay, you took those fights. You got good trades with my unsieged tanks because I was being too aggressive. Now I have an eco lead, and I'm literally just going to sit here. And you can try to attack into me if you want. If he had built CCs, as you mentioned, maybe he could have come back. Would have been super risky. It was a lose-lose from there, but that was a painful end for Jockey. And morale-wise, he's got to be feeling in the dumps after taking that first loss to our most recent GSL champion.
Now that's going to take us here into our game 2 of our final set of the night. Fly Better Fly. Our blue Terran in the bottom right-hand corner of our final map. This is Jockey playing for Revolution Gaming.
And his opponent, defending GSL champion, it is Bjorn. That title will be taken from him this Sunday, right after our I Love StarCraft event. That will be happening in COEX at the Exhibition Center. So if you're in Seoul, definitely go and check that out, because I know all of you guys in here listening to this, those of you who stayed up late to watch this and you're up early morning NA, you're just a normal time EU, or those even in Seoul who I'm really talking to who are up at this late hour to watch StarCraft, you are here, so you should definitely go to the I Love StarCraft event on Sunday. It's already been confirmed that Brood War show matches are happening there, and Mike Morhaime himself will be in attendance. So definitely do go and check that event out.
Much in the same way as you are checking this event out, of course you can come watch SSL, GSL, really just about anything you could want. You just come on down. So
yeah, keep in mind the premier matches that are on Mondays you will need a ticket for, but you can actually, of course, buy that right away. And the ticket sales do go directly to the players, so you're literally saving esports.
One step at a time. All right, mirrored builds again. So there's once again not really too much to talk about here in the early game. And I'll start out on an even footing, but it doesn't stay that way for very much longer. I mean, this is Whirlwind. I think it's along with Frost, probably our biggest map in the map pool. Just absolutely gigantic. It's got that radial symmetry going on. So that actually does mean that Jakji, for the time being, is expanding closer towards Byeon, whereas Byeon is expanding farther away from Jakji. Always kind of interesting to see the differences that even though this is a radially symmetric map, it's the differences based on your spawn location do actually have a big effect.
Absolutely. There's just certain rules in StarCraft like that. For example, your add-ons always spawn on the right side of your buildings, which can cause problems, but that's just the nature of the game. It's very tough to pure mech on this map, which is one thing that, when this map was in the map pool, was super important to note. We saw a lot of Terran players meching against Zerg back then, but this was the weak map for that, because there's a lot of areas to, kind of do the run around, avoid that sieged up position. Obviously, we're not going to see mech in TVT. It's not really meta right now.
Oh, sickest micro.
He can win this. He actually can win this if he engages. Well, not anymore, but the Marines can ward off. But the thing about this map is, for the same reasons we wouldn't see mech in the past, we're not going to see it here, but also siege tank positioning, because it's still a semi-mech army like we saw the Marine tank. Siege tank positioning is everything. There's so many different ways to break a position on this map. Almost every high ground has 2 entrances. So this is really the advanced big chessboard of TVT. There's so much to think about. There's so many pieces moving around. The medevacs are really the bishops, if you will. They're going to come in at an angle. They're going to harass. They're going to find worker kills. They're going to find some production damage. You need sensor towers in the late game if you're going to want to spot those coming, or you need a turret ring. So if Jakji's behind on this map, after what happened last time, I feel like he has a lot more options to get in, whereas on our previous set, there just wasn't much for him to do.
Yeah, especially after those wacky base trades took place, and you're just like, well, now what do I do? How do I take this awkward situation, turn it into one that's good for me? This time, Jakji is going to use his further forward position to run out of the map, pick up a Hellion, and get down the first harass of the game. Of course, now in a little bit of a rough spot there, will be ushered back away by those SCVs. See if this Reaper can get a kill, and no, not quite. Almost. Sort of.
Close, but no cigar. R.I.P. Tychus. We'll see this big drop over here. Well, not a big drop, but like I would say a pretty significant drop that's going to come over and threaten Byeon. Byeon does have adequate defense set up. And in fact, it looks like the drop will be sent back and cancelled. As Jakji knows that breaking this would be difficult. He actually sets up a double Cyclone drop. I mean, when you're double Cyclone dropping, feels desperate.
Well, I mean, yeah, something just didn't work out here. And Raven coming out onto the map is deliberately going the longest way around just to make sure it's not scouted out and has time to build up that energy to get that auto turret harass off.
I mean, Cyclones do a lot of damage. If he can secure the drop and actually unload 7 Marines and 2 Cyclones into the base, control the high ground, it can be strong. In fact, he has a 3rd drop. This is scary. Whoa. This is the lack of vision I was talking about. If you don't have vision, it can be terrifying. Pre-scan here, that should be suspicious to Byeon, but he doesn't have much time to react. Only 1 Marine here and a siege tank. That siege tank is going to get bursted down. He has the repair, but it's a bit too late.
Both tanks out of there, mostly just workers fighting Cyclone on Cyclone. Actually gets to the Byeon. Cyclone loses, pickups there only saves 2 of his Cyclones, but Jakshi did get a substantial amount of harass down.
Absolutely a great trade for him. 10 workers dead. Of course, this Raven should be able to drop down quite a few auto turrets. In fact, 125 energy to do some harass here. The Cyclones are always going to be a threat, but they're not going to last too much longer without anything to repair.
He's just going to get what little value he can off of that, avoiding the auto turret, which does die very quickly. His second auto turret coming down, though, and that's actually the one that will get a decent amount of damage, taking out quite a few Marines, SCVs. Value, yes, but just not as much.
Yeah. Absolutely a little bit of counter harass. Byun, he's not out of this game. He has the faster stim, and he has the potential to now, with his larger army, put some counter pressure on. Ooh, especially grabbing a medevac there.
Sickest pickup there. Jakshi saves both in red health.
They're going to have to be repaired, or they are essentially dead in terms of fighting them. They get one shot or two off in a straight combat engagement. But this is what I'm talking about. Counter pressure, Byun can absolutely bring to the table here. He has stim. He has it faster. He's going to have +1 faster, too. Two things he can't necessarily know. But he's also going to have the faster combat shields, which is going to be great for him. He's going to have a big power spike with this push. And if he's able to realize all these things, I mean, he's just a god. This is a tight window he's working with right now. Super tight.
Again, with the auto turret harassment, that one trying to target down the tank would have won, but a timely repair by Jakshi keeps it alive. So
then he targets the SCVs right afterwards. Pretty quick thinking by Byun. Making that valuable no matter which way you look at it. He's already taken a 5-worker lead despite the early deficit, despite the 10 kills against him.
Yeah, worker lead, but army slight deficit. And here comes Jakshi now pushing out across the map. Actually, we'll pick everything up.
Look at this scan. Byun sees blood in the water. He realizes this is happening. Jakshi is going to have to be decisive now. He's either going to have to just straight commit to this, which will be difficult to do because Byun knows it's coming, or will have to turn around. He's chosen the commitment, but look at this. Already units set up to defend. Jakshi's attack should get shut down cold here.
Oh, no, and this is terrible. Byun, perfect timing. I mean, this is what back in Brood War we'd call Ihan timing. Just like the most impeccable decision-making possible.
GG.
Byun just tapping it. And it gets our first 2-0 of the map. Look at that in motion. Like, Byun is just putting it all on the table, and it works. Oh my god, I love watching this guy win games.
I had to be careful pounding that fist around. One day he's going to injure himself. Look, the skill difference between these two players was by far the biggest discrepancy we saw all day long here in Challenge. Byun just by far the better player. That move to attack there, he realizes Jakshi's being aggressive. It's his second big medevac pickup. And as soon as he sees the medevacs move out, he hits that natural. He scans to confirm, are there siege tanks set up here? Is this a reasonable attack? He's with a scan right on the ramp, which reveals the high ground as well. He goes, okay, this is easily dead CC and perhaps more. Then, because he already knows about the medevacs, he gets his unit set up in the main base, has that siege tank there. All he has to do is defend. Jakshi had a great start with that first drop with the Cyclones, but in terms of just reads, understanding, everything better there for Byun, the better micro as well. And
I mean, in terms of reads, I'm a little bit biased, but when it came to Byun's play, he definitely had quite a few of those too. I mean, so the Brood War Terran last was known as AlphaGo Terran, but with immaculate moves like that, Byun really, trying to take the game away. In case you guys have not seen the movie The Immaculate Move, it's definitely worth checking out. And that was like the reference. And I'm like,
this is about one couple moves from Seoul, South Korea to Cairo, Egypt.
Not quite.
But how will they put all their things into a shipping container and get to the other side
like Tetris,
of the country?
they pack it perfectly. That's not quite what it is.
The Immaculate Move coming to theaters soon.
You have terrible movie ideas, Wolf. That will never be made. I'm sorry. You're
It would be an immaculate move. You move from Seoul, South Korea to Cairo, Egypt.
Your burgeoning producer aspirations are not going to work out. Sorry, man.
Just saying, immaculate move, man.
It's actually a really sick movie, so you guys should check it out. In the meantime, I think we'll be going over the results from tonight's games. Coming up right on Command Classic, taking a 2-1 victory against TY, Hero 2-1 over Deer, Lucira then 2-1ing Ryung, and our only 2-0 of the night, Byun bopping Jakshi.
That was a straight bop. And No edges to it.
No, indeed. It was no
180-degree
curves.
bop.
Yeah.
180-degree bop there.
360 degrees. He like goes the entire circle, comes back, and is like, "What is this?" Yeah, it's a boppening. If this game was a delicious Korean dish, it would be a bibimbap.
Yes. So here are our current standings. Classic and Losira actually winning their matches up at the front. TY and Ryung losing, so they'll be down tied for third. This is for Group A. Bunny hasn't played any games yet.
Yep.
And then in Group B, we haven't played any matches just yet. We'll be getting into that next week. Also, we were told to remind you guys, Challenger broadcasts will normally be on Saturday, not Fridays. Today there was a schedule conflict, so it was on Friday this week specifically.
Right. So just to clarify, we did play games from both Group A and B. Every week, 2 players get a chance to rest, and then we rotate through the rest of them here in Challenge. But yeah, like you said, Wolf, do want to reiterate, games for Challenge were on Friday this week. They're going to be on Saturday next week.
Yeah.
So.
Also, the Brood War tournament, the Star League Classic, will be starting up in a few weeks. We're still getting into the setup for that one. Obviously, it's already been announced and everything. It's going to be a super exciting tournament. I'll be casting it with you. But that is starting in a few weeks' time, so be patient for that one. Here are the matches next week. It's going to be, let's see if I can know all these Korean names. It's going to be Zest versus Byul, Maru versus Stats, Innovation versus Dark, SOS versus Solar. That'll be your matchups on next. Oh, this is Premier, of course. This is on Monday.
And that will be here live at the Nexon Arena. A bunch of people are going to be coming down, so make sure that if you are in Seoul, South Korea, come on down to Gangnam to the Nexon Arena and come check it out. Do
use the ticket link there to reserve tickets. I'm pretty sure you can. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty certain if you showed up, you can probably buy them at the door. Here are the challenge matches. It's going to be Losira versus Classic, Hero versus Gumiho, TY versus Bunny, Byun versus Deer. So those will be the matchups for Challenge.
All right, so that's pretty much your StarCraft coming up for this week. Of course, SSL aside, GSL finals along with that iHeart StarCraft events will be coming up on Sunday. So if you're in Korea, definitely come down and check that out, or just make sure to watch it online. We might have an overlay for that. If we don't, then yeah, you have been forewarned. Pretty much the culmination of the first section here in 2017 when it comes to StarCraft will be happening on that day, so you do not want to miss it.
And of course, the history of StarCraft 1 and StarCraft 2, over a decade of esports here in Korea. That's what we're celebrating on Sunday, so it should be really exciting.
Yeah, so that's going to do it for us here tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed the little bit more of a casual atmosphere here in Challenger. It's very much a departure from these big, super, hyper-professional castings like Premier or just like really major tournaments. But we had a little bit of fun with it. Rumor has it next time we'll actually have our own Jin airplane model to play with, so expect us to break that instantly upon next week's occurrence. So
yeah.
Big thanks to
Probius there.
Probius here.
I mean, you call him Probius. I think he's just a probe. But I mean, if you want to give him a hero name, I mean, that's what they did for Heroes of the Storm. But
I'm just chilling out, man. Probius here. My probe micro is not on point, Wolf. I'm pretty bad at Protoss.
And when he gets excited, he flaps up.
That actually just looks really painful. But apparently, that's how you put the batteries inside of him. Turns out probes are powered by batteries, guys. Who knew? It's the future of StarCraft, but somehow we still use AA's to power our probes.
That's right. In what's the Kala, they use Duracell.
That's how it happens.
The Kala uses Duracell, man. Lithium's still popular in the future.
That's why they battle on all these maps. They're just battling over. You think it's minerals, but it's actually just like the lithium for their ion batteries.
They're trying to invade Earth to get those Duracells, man.
That's why Terran's the best race because you have to defend against everybody trying to take your batteries.
The problem is they run on AAA that lasts very long. And they're the terrible ones, you lose them. And when you go in the battery drawer, you're like not sure which ones you used already or not.
Oh, man, it's the tiny round ones, right?
Yeah, and then you take them and you remember the thing you could put the 2 fingers on the edge to see how well it's charged? Yeah, those never worked. But somehow that was still a thing for many years.
All right, guys. Well, I think I heard the graphic popping up in the background that meant that we were going to throw up the closing screen. However, right as I looked to the screen to see if that was going to come up, I saw nothing. And so my desperate attempt at getting out of here, this is where like Wolf holds up his iPad and it says, like, save me, help, I'm being held against my will.
Yeah, Well, at least I got Probius
I
to
was
play
gonna
with
say,
here.
Like, when in doubt, when we run out of deep, scintillating analysis, we can always hold our probes, as we
All right.
want to do.
Looks like it's time to close, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Do not miss the I Love StarCraft event on Sunday, and we will see you on Monday for Star League Premiere.